The signals whisper. The 3 moons of Altair 4 cast ghostly blue shadows across the titanium dome of Vega Observatory. Dr. Elias Mercer hunched over his console, the glow of multiple screens illuminating his weathered face. At 42, faint silver threads had begun weaving through his dark hair, and the perpetual furrow between his brows had deepened into a permanent crease. Anomaly detected in Sector 7, announced the observatory's AI system, its voice a soothing feminine tone that still made Elias wince. He'd never reprogrammed it after Maya's death. "Display waveform," he commanded, reaching for the lukewarm coffee at his elbow. The screen before him erupted with undulating patterns, radio frequencies from deep space that shouldn't exist in this configuration. Unlike the random cosmic noise, these patterns pulsed with an almost musical rhythm. Elias leaned closer, his heart accelerating. 3 years spent scanning the darkness beyond Altair's system, and nothing had ever looked like this. Maya would have loved this, he whispered, the familiar ache blooming in his chest. His wife had been the visionary, the theoretical physicist, who'd proposed that consciousness might imprint itself on quantum waves. The scientific community had ridiculed her theories until her death from stellar radiation poisoning. Now Elias continued her work alone, exiled to this remote observatory by colleagues who viewed him with a mixture of pity and embarrassment. The signal intensified, its amplitude growing stronger as if responding to his attention. Elias's fingers flew across the interface, isolating frequencies, enhancing patterns. Computer. Run comparison with all known cosmic phenomena. No match found in database, the AI replied. Outside, the stellar storm that had been brewing for days intensified. Sheets of charged particles cascaded across the observatory's protective shields, bathing the dome in rippling curtains of green and violet light. The observatory trembled. "Warning, shield integrity at 70%, the AI announced. "Recommend powering down non-essential systems." Elias ignored the warning. The signal was changing, organizing itself into more complex patterns. For a breathtaking moment, he could have sworn it formed the shape of Maya's favorite constellation, the celestial dancer. Computer. Record all incoming data, and a blinding flash cut him off as something pierced through the storm, streaking past the observatory viewports. The impact shook the entire structure, sending Elias tumbling from his chair. Proximity alert. Unknown object has landed approximately 500 meters from observatory perimeter, the AI reported calmly. Elias pulled himself up, heart pounding. Protocol demanded he seal the observatory and alert Central Command. Instead, he grabbed an environment suit from the emergency locker. Maya had always said that answers came to those brave enough to seek them. As he sealed his helmet and stepped toward the airlock, the signal on his monitors changed again, forming patterns that resembled human speech waveforms. If he didn't know better, he would have sworn it was calling his name. The storm outside had calmed unnaturally quickly, leaving an eerie stillness. His boots crunched across the crystalline terrain as he approached the impact site. What he found wasn't the meteorite he expected, but a translucent pod, glowing with inner light. Its surface rippled like water when he drew near. "What are you?" Elias whispered, as if in response the pod's surface parted. From within emerged a figure that made Elias's breath catch, a woman or something like a woman, with skin that seemed to contain galaxies, shifting with subtle colors beneath its surface. Her hair floated around her face as if suspended in water, despite the planet's gravity. When she opened her eyes, they were the exact shade of violet that Maya's had been. She reached toward him with a trembling hand, and Elias, against all scientific training and rational thought, removed his glove and reached back. Their fingers touched, and the universe between them seemed to inhale, a luminous emergence. The journey back to the observatory was a blur for Elias. The being, woman, walked beside him with an ethereal grace, each step barely disturbing the crystalline surface beneath them. She wore nothing but seemed unaffected by the harsh climate, her skin emitting a subtle warmth that Elias could feel even through his environment suit. "Can you understand me?" he asked, his voice sounding too loud, too human in the silence between them. She tilted her head, violet eyes studying him with an intelligence that made his scientific mind race with questions. She made no sound but raised her hand to touch her throat, then shook her head slowly. Inside the observatory's decontamination chamber, Elias hesitated. Protocol demanded quarantine procedures for any extraterrestrial biological entity. Yet something in those eyes made clinical precaution feel like cruelty. "Computer, run biological scan for pathogens or hazardous elements," he commanded. "Scan complete. No detectable pathogens. Subject biology is inconclusive. Cellular structure appears to be in flux." The being watched the scanning light with curiosity rather than fear. When Elias opened the inner door to the observatory, she followed him with trusting steps. In the harsh laboratory lights, Elias could observe her more clearly. Her form was unmistakably feminine, but with subtle differences, her fingers slightly longer than human norm, her movements possessing a fluid quality, as if partially liberated from gravity. Most striking was her skin, which seemed to contain swirling patterns that shifted with her emotions. Now a calm blue-violet reminiscent of nebula formations. "I need to call you something," Elias said, mostly to himself. "Would you mind if I named you?" She stepped closer, her gaze intense as she studied his face. After a moment, she pressed her palm flat against the console, displaying the signal that had preceded her arrival. The waveform pattern pulsed in sync with a glow that emanated from beneath her skin. "Naya," she formed the word with her lips, though no sound emerged. But somehow Elias heard it, not with his ears, but somewhere deeper. "Naya," he repeated, testing the name. "Is that what you call yourself?" She nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. That night, Elias prepared a makeshift bed in the laboratory, offering Naya soft blankets, which she examined with childlike fascination. When he retreated to his quarters, sleep eluded him. His mind raced with questions and ethical dilemmas. He should report this encounter immediately. Central Command would dispatch a specialized team, scientists, military personnel, perhaps diplomats if they were feeling particularly enlightened, and Naya would become a specimen, an object of study. The thought twisted something in his chest. He dreamt that night of Maya, but the dream shifted strangely, Maya's face blending with Naya's, both women reaching for him across a vast cosmic divide. He woke to find Naya standing in his doorway, her skin pulsing with a soft amber glow. Before he could speak, an alert blared through the observatory. "Incoming transmission from Central Command," the AI announced. Director Hammond's stern face appeared on the main screen. "Dr. Mercer, our systems detected an anomalous impact near your position last night during the stellar storm. Standard protocol requires immediate reporting of any—" Elias quickly moved to block Naya from the camera's view. "Just a small meteorite, Director. Nothing of significance." The storm interfered with communications. Hammond's eyes narrowed. "Our sensors indicated an energy signature inconsistent with meteorite composition." "Probably interference from the storm," Elias replied too quickly. "I'll compile a full report by end of day." After terminating the call, Elias turned to find Naya studying him intently. She approached slowly and raised her hand to his face. The moment her fingers touched his temple, his mind exploded with imagery, vast cosmic landscapes, worlds beyond imagination, and underlying it all, a sense of profound loneliness that matched his own. When the connection broke, Elias stumbled backward, gasping. Naya's eyes had darkened to a deep indigo, her skin pulsing with patterns that seemed almost like writing. "What was that?" he whispered. "What are you trying to tell me?" In response, she took his hand and placed it over the center of her chest. Beneath his palm, he felt a rhythm, not quite a heartbeat, more complex, like music translated into physical form. The sensation spread up his arm, resonating with something deep within his own chest. In that moment of connection, Elias knew with certainty that whatever had brought Naya across the stars to him was no cosmic accident. Somehow, impossibly, she knew him, and despite everything his scientific mind told him about the improbability of it all, he was beginning to feel he knew. Forbidden resonance days blended into nights as Elias and Naya developed their own language of gestures, expressions, and the strange empathic connection that grew stronger whenever they touched. He disabled most of the observatory's internal cameras, preserving their privacy from Central Command's routine surveillance. Elias documented everything in his personal journal rather than the official logs. The way Naya absorbed knowledge with astonishing speed, how she could manipulate the observatory's energy systems with mere proximity, her fascination with the star charts and particularly with Earth's location. "Why Earth?" he asked one evening as she traced the tiny blue dot on the galactic display. "Why are you interested in my homeworld?" Naya's response came as it always did, a touch, a flood of images, emotions too complex for human language. This time, Elias saw flashes of Earth's oceans, felt the pull of its moon, experienced a sense of recognition that bewildered him. When the connection broke, he found himself trembling. "Have you been there before?" She shook her head, then touched her chest, then his. The implication stunned him, not the planet itself, but something about humanity, about him, had drawn her across the void. That night, Elias dreamed of Maya again, the day they'd met at the university. Her laughter as she challenged his rigid scientific worldview, the last morning together before she left for the ill-fated expedition that exposed her to lethal radiation. He woke to find Naya sitting beside his bed, tears like liquid starlight trailing down her cheeks. "You saw," he whispered, understanding dawning. "Somehow, you're connecting to my memories." She nodded, placing her palm against his heart. The gesture had become their most intimate form of communication. This time she shared not just images but something deeper, the cosmic tapestry that connected all conscious beings, threads of emotion and memory weaving through the very fabric of space-time. Elias began to understand Maya's theories in a new light. Consciousness didn't just observe the quantum realm, it was fundamental to it. And Naya's species, whatever they were, existed in closer harmony to this reality than humans ever could. "Is that why you're here?" he asked. "To show us this truth?" The question lingered unanswered as the observatory's alarm suddenly blared to life. "Warning, approaching vessels detected." "Central Command insignia confirmed," announced the AI. Panic seized Elias. He rushed to the communication console to see 3 research vessels breaking orbit, heading directly toward the observatory. Hammond's face appeared on screen almost immediately. "Dr. Mercer, our long-range sensors have detected anomalous energy signatures emanating from your location for the past week. You've failed to file required reports, and your behavior during our last communication was concerning. We're sending a specialized team to investigate." "There's nothing to investigate, Director," Elias insisted, trying to keep his voice steady. "I've been conducting experiments with—" "Save it, Mercer," Hammond cut him off. "We know you're not alone there. Whatever you found, it belongs to all humanity, not just you. The team will arrive in approximately 18 hours. I suggest you prepare all relevant data and specimens for transfer." The transmission ended, leaving Elias in cold silence. When he turned, Naya stood watching him, her skin pulsing with waves of deep crimson. Fear he had learned to recognize. "I won't let them take you," he promised. "We have 18 hours to figure something out." That night, as Elias frantically searched for options, escape routes, ways to conceal Naya, even considerations of stealing one of the incoming vessels, she approached him with a newfound determination in her violet eyes. She placed her hands on either side of his face, initiating the deepest connection they had yet shared. In the vision that followed, Elias understood at last. Naya's kind didn't travel through space in ships. They projected their consciousness across the cosmos, finding vessels compatible with their energy. She had been drawn to this region by the unique resonance of his grief, the powerful emotional beacon it created across dimensional barriers. As the vision faded, Naya stepped back. Her lips moved, and for the first time sound emerged, a voice like crystal chimes carrying words in perfect accented English. "Soul-bearer," she said, the word resonating through the room. "That is what you are to me." Elias stared in astonishment. "You can speak." "I have learned from your mind," she replied, each word carefully formed. "Your language, your memories, your heart." She approached him again, her movements more confident. "What binds us spans beyond stars. I exist because you exist, Elias. Your grief created a resonance that called to me across the void. What happens when they come for you tomorrow?" he asked, unable to imagine losing her now that he finally understood. Naya's fingers interlaced with his, her touch sending waves of warmth through his body. "There is another way," she whispered, drawing closer until the space between them vanished. "But you must choose it freely." Her lips met his, and the observatory around them seemed to fade as consciousness expanded beyond physical form. In that transcendent moment, the boundary between them blurred. Two beings from across the stars finding in each other the missing piece of themselves. When morning came, bringing with it the distant glint of approaching vessels, Elias knew with absolute clarity what he had to do. Cosmic reflections. The command vessels loomed closer on the observatory's monitors, three predatory shapes against Altair's swirling atmosphere. Elias worked frantically at the main console, transferring research data to a portable drive while deliberately corrupting the original files. "They cannot understand what I am," Naya said, watching him from beside the star chart where they'd first truly connected. Her voice still carried that crystalline quality, otherworldly yet increasingly confident. "Your science has no framework for my existence. Hammond doesn't care about understanding," Elias replied bitterly. "He cares about control, about weaponization. Anything powerful is seen as a potential asset." He glanced at her, the glow of her skin casting soft light across the darkened laboratory. "Or a potential threat. And which do you see me as, Elias?" she asked, moving toward him with that fluid grace that defied human movement. Her violet eyes studied him with an intensity that still took his breath away. "Neither." He abandoned the console to meet her halfway. "I see you as a miracle." When their hands met, the connection between them surged stronger than ever before. This time, Naya didn't just share images or emotions. She revealed the truth of her existence in its entirety. Her kind were not aliens in the way humans imagined, not biological beings who evolved on distant worlds. They were cosmic resonances, patterns of consciousness that formed in response to powerful emotional fields across the universe. Grief, love, longing, these emotions created quantum disturbances that, under rare circumstances, could coalesce into self-aware entities. "I am born of your grief, Elias," her voice echoed in his mind. "The love you held for Maya, the void her passing left within you, it created a resonance that rippled across dimensional boundaries. I heard your heart calling across the void, and I answered." As the vision faded, Elias stumbled backward, overwhelmed by the revelation. "You're saying you wouldn't exist without my pain?" "Not quite." Naya's skin pulsed with swirling patterns of deep blue and violet. "Your emotion was the catalyst, but I am more than its echo. I am my own being, shaped by cosmic forces beyond both our understandings." She approached him again, her expression softening. "But I am connected to you in ways that transcend physical reality." The observatory's communication system crackled to life. "Vega Observatory, this is Commander Reese of Central Command Research Division. We are commencing docking procedures. Prepare for boarding. Time was running out." Elias turned to the emergency protocol screen. "There's a maintenance shuttle in the lower bay. It's small, but it could get us to the outer rim colonies where Central Command has less influence." Naya placed her hand over his, stopping him from activating the escape sequence. "No, Elias. What do you mean, no? We have to leave before they— Look at me," she said, her voice gentle but firm. She guided his face toward hers. "Truly look." For the first time, Elias noticed changes in her appearance. The cosmic glow beneath her skin had diminished slightly, the vibrant violet of her eyes fading toward a more human blue. "What's happening to you?" "I am transitioning," she explained, a sad smile playing at her lips. "As your grief heals through our connection, the resonance that sustains my form weakens." "You're dying?" The word stuck in his throat. "Not dying. Changing." She pressed her palm to his chest, where he could feel his heart pounding. "The emptiness inside you is filling with something new. And as it does, my current form becomes unstable." Realization dawned on him with horrifying clarity. Their connection, the very thing bringing him back to life, was causing her to fade. "Then I'll hold on to my grief," he said desperately. "I'll never let go of it. Naya shook her head, tears like stardust gathering in her eyes. That is not why I came to you, Soulbearer. I came to help you heal, not to trap you in eternal sorrow. The shuttle bay doors began to open as Central Command's vessels completed their docking procedures. Boots echoed on metal as the research team entered the observatory. They had minutes, perhaps seconds. There must be another way, Elias pleaded, gathering her hands in his. I can't lose you too. Naya's response was to draw him into an embrace that transcended physical comfort. Her body against his felt both solid and ephemeral, as if she existed partially in another dimension. When her lips found his, the connection between them exploded into something beyond language or thought, a cosmic dance of consciousness where two souls recognized themselves in each other. Dr. Mercer. Hammond's voice shattered the moment as the laboratory doors slid open. He stood flanked by 4 security officers and a team of scientists in sterile containment gear. His eyes widened at the sight of Naya. Extraordinary, he breathed, scientific curiosity momentarily overriding his bureaucratic demeanor. You've made contact with a non-terrestrial intelligence. Director Hammond. Elias positioned himself between Naya and the newcomers. This is a first contact situation that requires delicacy, not armed guards and containment procedures. Step aside, Doctor, Hammond ordered, his momentary wonder hardening back into authority. The entity will be transported to Central Command Xenobiology Division for proper study. She's not an entity to be dissected, Elias argued. She's a conscious being with rights. Hammond's expression soured. Your judgment is clearly compromised, Mercer. Perhaps those rumors about your mental state following your wife's death weren't exaggerated after all. He gestured to the security team. Detain Dr. Mercer and secure the non-terrestrial. As the guards advanced, Naya stepped forward, her skin suddenly pulsing with intense light that forced everyone to shield their eyes. I am not yours to command, she said, her voice resonating with a power that made the observatory's systems flicker. Nor am I bound by your limitations. The light emanating from her grew until it filled the laboratory, enveloping Elias in its warm embrace while driving everyone else to their knees. In that radiance, time seemed to slow as Naya turned to him, her expression both loving and resolute. Tonight, she whispered for his ears alone. When the 3 moons align, come to the crystal fields where we first met. Her form began to shimmer, becoming translucent. I will show you what lies beyond. Before Elias could respond, she dissolved into particles of light that scattered throughout the room like cosmic dust, leaving Hammond and his team staring in shocked silence at the empty space where she had stood. Beyond stars, what exactly did we just witness, Dr. Mercer? Hammond demanded, his authoritative voice unable to conceal his astonishment. Elias stared at the empty space where Naya had stood moments before, his mind racing to process what had happened. I don't know, he lied. She's unlike anything in our scientific understanding. For 6 hours, Hammond's team interrogated him, scanned the observatory, collected samples from every surface Naya had touched. Their instruments detected residual energy patterns, but nothing substantial enough to confirm what they'd all seen with their own eyes. With no specimen to transport and inconclusive data, Hammond had no choice but to establish a temporary research base at the observatory while determining next steps. You'll remain under observation, Mercer, Hammond informed him coldly. If the entity returns or if you attempt to contact it, there will be severe consequences, Elias nodded compliantly, watching the chronometer tick toward evening when the 3 moons of Altair 4 would align, a rare astronomical event that happened only once every 2 years. The security detail assigned to his quarters was minimal. Hammond's resources were stretched thin across the observation teams working throughout the facility. When darkness fell and the moons began their celestial dance toward alignment, Elias made his move. A small electromagnetic pulse device, one of Maya's inventions for emergency situations, disabled. The surveillance systems long enough for him to slip into an environment suit and access the emergency airlock. The crystalline landscape glittered beneath, the triple moonlight as Elias made his way to the impact site, where he had first discovered Naya. The security teams would notice his absence soon, but it wouldn't matter. Whatever was about to happen, he suspected it would be beyond their ability to interrupt. He reached the exact spot as the moons aligned perfectly overhead, bathing the crystal field in silver-blue radiance. For several minutes, nothing happened. Had he misunderstood? Had Naya truly disappeared or worse, died because of their connection? Then he felt it, a subtle vibration through the soles of his boots, traveling upward through his body. The crystals around him began to resonate, emitting harmonics that somehow matched the rhythm he had felt when Naya placed his hand on her chest. The sound built until it became visible as waves of light rippling across the landscape. From these waves, Naya's form coalesced, not solid as before, but translucent, her body composed of swirling light and cosmic matter. When she spoke, her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Elias," she said, the sound of his name carrying emotions no human language could express. "You came." "Of course I came." He removed his helmet despite the environment suit's warnings about atmospheric composition. Nothing mattered except seeing her clearly one last time. "Is this goodbye?" She approached, her feet not quite touching the crystal surface. "That depends on you, soul-bearer." "I don't understand. I exist in the space between states, neither fully physical nor fully cosmic. My kind call it the resonance." Her hand reached for his face, and though it appeared insubstantial, he felt the warm touch against his skin. "I am fading from your reality because you no longer need me." "That's not true," he protested. "I do need you. More than I've ever needed anyone." Her smile held the wisdom of stars. "What you need, Elias, is to live again. To carry your love for Maya as strength rather than sorrow. To continue your work with open eyes and an open heart." Her form rippled, temporarily destabilizing before reforming. "I was born from your grief, but I cannot exist within your healing." "Then I'll come with you," he said suddenly, the words surprising even himself. "To the resonance, wherever that is." Naya's expression turned serious. "The journey would transform you. You would no longer be human as you understand it." She moved closer until they were mere inches apart. "Your consciousness would join with the cosmic fabric, your body left behind. There is no return from such a crossing." In the distance, alarms blared from the observatory. Searchlights swept across the crystal fields as Hammond's security team mobilized to find him. "Is it possible?" Elias asked, his heart racing. "For me to go with you?" "It has happened before, rarely, when the connection between beings is strong enough." Her form brightened with emotion. "But Elias, your life here has meaning. Your work, Maya's theories, you could prove them all with what you now know." He looked back toward the observatory, the culmination of his scientific career, the monument to Maya's vision. Then he turned to Naya, this impossible being who had awakened him from the half-life of grief. "Maya would understand," he said finally. "She always said that true discovery requires leaving the familiar behind." His hand reached for Naya's, their fingers intertwining in a dance of solid and light. "How do we begin?" The searchlights grew closer. Hammond's voice echoed through a megaphone. "Dr. Mercer, step away from the anomaly immediately." Naya's form began to pulse with increasing brilliance. "Open your mind completely to me, as I open mine to you. Let go of physical constraints. Feel the resonance between us, and surrender to it." As Hammond and his team crested the rise, weapons drawn, Elias closed his eyes and pulled Naya into an embrace. Their connection exploded beyond anything they had shared before. Not just emotions or memories, but the fundamental essence of being. His consciousness expanded exponentially, perceiving dimensions beyond human comprehension. He felt his physical form growing lighter, molecular bonds loosening as the resonance between them harmonized to a single frequency. Around them, the crystal field erupted with light that spiraled upward toward the aligned moons. Hammond's team could only watch in awe as two beings, one human, one cosmic, transformed into a spiraling column of radiance that stretched from ground to sky. For a brief moment, those watching thought they could perceive two figures dancing within the light before it collapsed, inward and then expanded outward, in a silent explosion that sent ripples of energy across the entire moon. When the light faded, Nothing remained but Elias's empty environment suit, collapsed upon the crystal surface. The official report filed by Director Hammond documented an unexplained energy phenomenon resulting in the disappearance of Dr. Elias Mercer, presumed deceased. The observatory was expanded into a full research station dedicated to studying the unique properties of the crystal fields and the unusual cosmic signals that continued to be detected in the region. But on clear nights, when Altair IV's three moons aligned, the scientists sometimes reported hearing a strange harmonic resonance emanating from the crystals themselves, a sound almost like voices intertwined in conversation or perhaps in song, echoing across the void between stars. And occasionally, those who listened closely enough swore they could make out words in the cosmic melody, fragments of communication from somewhere beyond conventional reality. The universe is alive with consciousness. We are never truly alone. Love transcends dimensional boundaries. Messages from travelers who had found in each other what humans spend lifetimes searching for: recognition of self in other, connection across impossible distances, and the courage to transform completely for the chance to dance among the stars.